Hi everyone, this is Ash, and I'm going to teach you how to do identity matrices or basically augmented matrices. And I'm going to start off with the 2x2, which basically 2x2 by 2 augmented matrices is basically you got to find the dimensions by this. It would be a 1, 0, then 0, 1. Your 1s always are going to go crisscross like that, and your 0s are always, well, not always, but in a 2x2 they're always going to be crisscross. And for this one I'm going to do the example problem of 4x plus 5y equals 7, then negative 2x plus minus, screw that up, it's a minus y, equals 7. And this is how you set it up. You'd first open up your brackets and you'd look. So your first columns go down and rows go across. Your first column is going to be 4 and negative 2 because of the x's. And then you skip a space and you'd put 5, and since it's negative y, you'd put negative 1 because there's only the variable there, so it'll only equal the 1. And then you can either put dots or a line. I like putting lines because it looks pretty. And then 7 for the top one and 7 for the bottom. You always want to put what it equals on the other side of the line or a dotted line so that you can know that it has to equal that. And then you close off the brackets. Okay, now I am going to write out the steps as I do this, so try to stay along with me. If you are still confused after this, just leave a comment or something like that, and I will promise to help you out a lot more in another video. Okay, so you write out like this, and you always want to get the 1 first. So in this, since you are trying to find the 1, 0, 0, 1 method, you would look. 4 is in the 1. So you always want to try to find the 1s in each column first. So how do you get 4 to be 1? You first got to remember your rules. You multiply or divide across, and you add up and down. A lot of people forget that, and it kind of gets confusing along the way, but up and down, add or subtract. Across, multiply, or divide. You always have to remember that because I still get a little confused on it too. Okay, so to get 4 to equal 1, you would have to, let me already open up bracket thing. You would have to divide row 1 by 4. And you're probably wondering why divide all of it by 4 instead of just the 4. Well, you can't always just do 1 by itself. You always have to do the whole entire row or column. Or row, because it's only going to be that. Okay, so row 1, divide by 4. Row 2 stays the same. So it'll equal 4 divided by 1, which equals 1. 5 divided by 4, which equals 1.25, I believe. Your bracket thing, or line. 7 divided by 4, which equals 1.75, and you leave the bottom one the same. And you just found your first problem, which is the 1. Now, you gotta look down it, which will be the negative 2. Negative 2 has to equal 0. So to get the negative 2, 0, you would not multiply the whole row by 0 because everything would be 0 and you'd just mess up the whole problem. You'd have to take it by additives or subtractings. I'm not even sure if additive is a real word, but let's just go with it today. Okay, so to get this to subtract to equal 0, you would, I believe, multiply the top row by 2. So let's write that out. Row 1, which is the row right here, multiply by positive 2. Okay? And row 2 stays the same. again. So then open up your brackets again. Little cross thingy there. Okay. So 1 times 2 equals 2. 1.25 times 2 is 2.5, 2.50, but I like to subtract it. And then 1.75 times 2 equals 3.5. Okay? Then you would leave your bottom the same. Now, in order to get that to be 0, you have to add. And you add up and down and add both rows together. Okay? So then add rows. And your top row, row 1, goes back. Now 2 plus -2 would equal 0. 2.5 plus -1 would equal 1.5. Dude. Okay, 7 plus 3.5 would equal 10.5. That sounded like a question there, sorry. Then your top row would go back the same, which is that right there. The 1, 1.25, and 1.75. So 1, 1.25, and 1.75. Okay, now you got your first row, so give yourself a hand. Yay! Alright, now you have to find the second row. Columns go up and down. Okay, now remember your whole problem 1, 0, 0, 1. You always try to find the ones place first. So in the ones place is 1.5. Now to get that to be a 1, you have to divide. Star Trek moment. Oh no! Okay, you would have to divide the top row by you would have to divide row 2 by 1.5 and the top row would stay the same. So let's write that out. Row 2 divide by 1.5, top stays. It helps a whole lot if you write out your steps because you do not get confused. So 1.5 divided by 0 is 0, 1.5 divided by 1.5 is 1, and 10.5 divided by 1.5 is 7. Yay! Then top stays. And guess what? You just figured out what y equals. Remember the problem up there? Where y would equal, close up, 7. So write that out up at the top. Y equals 7. Put a cloud around it because it's pretty. Okay. Now all you have to do is figure out this. Now if you remember up here, it's 1, 0, 0, 1. All you need is that to equal 0. So I'm going to turn the paper sideways, okay? Don't freak out on me. It's just turning sideways. It's not disappearing. And then rewrite it out so that I'd have more room to work with than just that one little part. Okay. Now, if you do not have a calculator, this will take you a while to figure out because it took me about 10 minutes to figure out what to add and what not to add to make it equal 0. And what you end up doing is you will, what did I do? I believe I multiplied the bottom by negative 1.25. Yep, that's what I did. So row 1 stays, row 2 multiply by negative 1.25 because when you add up and down it has to equal 0 on the top. So 1, 0, 1.25, negative 1.25, that would equal 8.75 and just 1.75 negative. Remember the negatives. Okay, then you add and your bottom would go back the same. So it equals 0, 1, 7, and then add up here. That would equal 1. 1.25 plus negative 1.25 would equal 0. 1.75 plus negative 8.75 would equal 7 negative. And then, remember up here, x would equal negative 7. And you just figured out how to do a 2x2 inverse identity matrix. Need any help? Just comment and add. Okay, bye!